Hello there, internets. So, quite a bit's happened over the last couple of weeks with Elite Dangerous, with the announcement that Chapter 2 will be releasing at the end of June, June 28th, I believe. Doesn't sound like there's going to be a whole lot of new stuff there. A new variant of the Alliance Chieftain, a couple of other things. But there will be no beta test period for this update. And I suspect probably it'll be the same with Chapter 3 as well. I would suspect later this summer, early fall, around late August, early September for that patch release. But it did strike a little bit of controversy over the last couple of weeks with the plan to move Power Play to being open mode only, with a few other changes to how it operates. And frankly, Power Play has been one of those things that I do not understand the nitty-gritty in and out details of how everything there mechanically works. And the large reason behind that is really have had no reason to care about it after Frontier basically undid what myself and a large group of other commanders attempted to do during the first or second turn of Power Play, 3-4 years ago now? And it's one of those things, well, we want you to have this open, emergent gameplay experience, but if you guys go off the reservation and do things we didn't anticipate, we're just going to roll back what you did and, got to play it the way that we want you to. And that's just never rubbed me the right way. So I gracefully bowed out, and my only meaningful engagement with Power Play has been log in, pledge for a power, log out, wait 3 weeks, log back in, do whatever Power Play activities need to be done to get my merits, log off, log back in, buy whatever module I want, or 3, and then log out, log in the next day, switch, or I should say leave that power, log out, log in the next day, join a new power, rinse, lather, repeat. And I think that's how most people have been to get prismatic shields, to get this, to get that. There is no reason why I should become concerned with this power versus that power, frankly. And so, it left me really disengaged, and one more, as I would call it, failed mechanic. Now, with limiting it to open only, I think partially addresses many of the concerns and problems that many of us had, primarily that it ended up being almost meaningless. That if people were preparing a system, they could do so in solo or private mode, and there was nothing as a player could do to engage them or interact with them, except for try to tip the side of your scale balance to cancel it out. And that was incredibly grindy, stupid, boring, repetitive gameplay that ultimately served very little to no utility within the greater scope of the game world. At least now, if everybody is forced to be open in order to engage in Power Play activities, I guess there's a chance there now for player-to-player interaction. It still doesn't necessarily solve the platform issue now, where you have PC, PlayStation, and Xbox users all inhabiting the same universe, without the cross-play compatibility. Meaning if players are doing something on Xbox, PlayStation players can't engage those players and directly stop them. Same thing with PC players with either the consoles, vice versa, and all around. So there's still going to be that tipping of the scales mechanics there, but at least now you do stand the chance of direct engagement. If people are fortifying a system, you could patrol that system on all 3 platforms if you have a large enough group and groups in each one of those things, and try to blockade, try to intercept as best as you can. And that instancing will allow you, and matchmaking will allow you to come up. Still a bit of random chance involved there. Have to be active when other commanders are active. But at least now it was a higher chance of probability, rather than everybody just slinking off and especially doing 5th columning stuff and like that into open and private group. And there's been much wailing and gnashing of teeth from those who want to play in open or I should say rather private groups in solo mode. Sorry, Care Bears. Gird your loins. If you want the cool toys, come out to open and play with the rest of us. And I've been very unrepentant about that since really the beginning of Elite Dangerous. I think that the 3-mode thing has frankly been a disgrace and has been one of those – design decisions that has haunted the game ever since. Not that I necessarily disagree with having separate maybe saves where you had a different commander that was solo or private group and another one that wasn't open, but again, that ship has long since sailed. Now, the other announcements that came out of LaveCon was footage shown and changes to mining and exploration, as I was doing a little bit of exploration here in my Beluga. And I have to say that both of these are welcomed addition. They're finally fleshing out and adding gameplay to existing mechanics instead of just making the reason is to unlock an engineer or to grind, usually without a whole lot to do. I mean, sitting there and pointing a laser at a thing or a couple of limpets and holding down the fire button on the laser, not much there in terms of skill, entertainment, all of those things. Now, they're going to make it a little bit more involved of a process with different methods of extracting different types of resources from asteroids, it looking like. Probably I'm imagining that some of this is going to be in conjunction with the construction of fleet carriers or guild carriers or squadron carriers, whatever they're going to call them. So you're going to have to go out and mine the resources in order to construct, fuel, maintain, upgrade, etc., so on so forth when it comes to these carriers. I'm almost sure of it now. But at least it's a much more engaging process, and if that's part of the cost of building one of these carriers, it does give it a objective that, at least for you and your group, could have a kind of meaningful impact. Exploration, much the same way. There'll now be probes that you launch from the Discovery Scanner that will basically go around and highlight, kind of as I was saying, how I would redo scanning, where you'd have to loop around the planet a few times to build up a picture of it. They're going to do that with probes that you can launch in super crews. Other crew members and multi-crew experiences can man those turret launchers and maneuver those probes around. It looks a lot like kind of the Mass Effect 2 way of mining and gathering resources. I think that both of these are welcome changes, and again, adds kind of a depth of gameplay in terms of mechanics, where there's at least an element of skill, and it's just not jump, honk, point your ship at a planetoid, scan it, move on to the next system. And by doing this, it will reveal any interesting artifacts, points of interest, natural geological formations, and things like that on the surface of the planet, and give you targets basically then to go and investigate further down on the surface of these planets. Should be easier to find Guardian ruins and Thorgoid ruins and maybe other things, and they're talking about adding more stellar phenomenon, maybe planetary phenomenon out there to add to your Discovery Channel. Do it like they do on the Discovery Channel. Discovery Journal and some of the things in the Codex. I think that this is going to flesh out the exploration side of the gameplay, and it's one of those things that I have a feeling that my friends and I, with the advent of a fleet carrier and a couple of more of my friends getting into Elite Dangerous over the summer and this fall and getting themselves built up, that it could be kind of interesting just to be able to dock at least one or several of our ships at the fleet carrier and then jump that carrier to the next destination, go out exploring, seeing the wonders of the galaxy, see what's out there, and then go to the next, and kind of keep everybody together in order to do those type of things. It could be interesting. This could be a game changer for the future of Elite Dangerous, but I'm going to temper my expectations here. I do like the direction where things are heading as far as what I've seen thus far, though. So, let me know what you think in the comments below. Until then, see you next time.